So Francesca, thank you so much for talking to me this evening. I'm so excited to hear all about veterinary medicine and about your role as a registered veterinary nurse as well. You and I actually know each other, don't we, through puppy school. You're training to be a puppy school tutor in Devon, is that correct?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I think it's going to be really, really great. I did puppy school with my own puppy, and she was incredible. And I realised just how important it is to get that puppy training right from day one, and doing it puppy school way. Positive reinforcement is the best start in life I think a puppy can have.
Absolutely. So tell us all about how you became a vet nurse.
So I actually came into it late in terms of what's classified as late for a vet nurse. So I was 24 when I started, and I'd loved animals all my life. I had dogs all my life, and yeah, I wanted to be a vet when I was at school, but then I wasn't that great at science and maths. So I ended up sort of going down a different path and decided to go into working with children. And I did that for a few years, but I knew deep down that I just didn't feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
So I actually managed to get a trainee vet nurse placement at a local vets to me. I wrote letters to all the vets in the area, and
Fantastic.
they took me on. And as a vet nurse, you have to train. You have to either do it you can do a degree or an apprenticeship, and I did it via apprenticeship. So I went to work 4 days a week, and 1 day a week I went to college, and I did the level 3 diploma in vet nursing there, and it took me nearly 3 years. And then once I qualified, I went to started as a new practice, and I've been there ever since.
Fantastic. And you work for Vets for Pets, don't you?
Yes, so yeah, I worked at a different practice, and then when I qualified, I moved to Vets for Pets. That was my first qualified job. Yeah.
And what's the difference between a vet and a veterinary nurse?
So it's pretty much the same as a doctor and a nurse in human medicine. So
Okay.
with the doctor is like the vet, they are the ones who can diagnose the problem. They are usually the ones who are able to prescribe any treatment, medications, things like that. And then the nurse, we're the ones who are then following out the sort of things the vet has prescribed and diagnosed. So if they would bring an animal through to us and say, right, this dog, um, I want to do bloods on him. I think he's got kidney failure. I want you to put him on a drip. I want you to put him on I want you to give him this food. I want you to take the bloods. I want you to do this. And we're the ones who and sort of do all of that. So we would put them on the drip, take the bloods, maybe give them some medications, the ones the vets prescribed, and we would get them all sorted, settled into the hospital. So I don't know if you've ever been in hospital, but I have myself, and it is so clear how we are so the same. So the doctor comes around maybe once a day, gives you a check, make sure you're okay, has a look at your stats, maybe checks your results of your sort of the things the nurses have been keeping an eye on all day, and then says, okay, I want her to go on to a different medication now, or I want her to go on a higher fluid rate for the day. And the nurse goes, okay. And then the nurse is the one that then does all that sort of stuff. So we are sort of behind the scenes, but we're doing the really big important things that,
Absolutely.
in human medicine you have radiographers, and you also have like phlebotomists, and you also have like different types of nurses who do different things, like a theatre nurse, whereas
Yeah.
we do everything. So we take x-rays, we take bloods, we can do anesthesia, so when animals come in to be spayed and things, we're doing the anesthetics for those as well. So we're a sort of a bit of a mixture of everything in one, really.
Absolute gods, all of you. And so with your role being incredibly hands-on, I know the conversations that you and I have had in the run-up to this interview have been a lot about the importance of correct handling and the importance of understanding animal behaviour, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you. I know that you've set up your Instagram page,
Yes.
which is particularly aimed at other veterinary nurses to educate them about animal behaviour and the importance of using positive reinforcements and you know, reward-based methods, which is what we're all about at Puppy School. And I've even sent owners, you know, posts from that page. I found it incredibly helpful. And so what was the main reason for you wanting to set that page up and for wanting to kind of jump on this educational journey to share with other people?
So it actually started when I got a puppy. I got my puppy 3 years ago. Just after I qualified, I got a new job, new house, and that's what we did. We got the puppy. I was just amazed because we did puppy school with her. We joined our local puppy school, and it soon occurred to me I was seeing things in the class, and then it was sort of bringing me back to things I'd seen in practice, animals that we'd had come in with behavioural issues, sadly animals that we'd had euthanized because of behavioural problems. And it just hit me that all of these dogs were puppies once, and something had happened to cause those things to, you know, something had happened that had made this animal behave in that way. And I felt like it's the human, it's the owner, or its experience around people that's probably caused it. And I just realized that training, and puppy training in particular, and socialization and everything was so important, because if you get that right, you are potentially their life is going to be great. If it's got wrong, you could end up with a dog who is getting rehomed or euthanized in, you know, later down the line. And I just thought, I wasn't taught about this at during vet nursing college. It's not something that vet nurses are taught. We don't get a lot of behavior. You get basic stuff. You don't get this real important stuff. And I thought, well, I get people asking me all the time puppy questions and behavior stuff, because they come in for their first vaccination, the second vaccination. We get puppies coming in 8 weeks, 10 weeks, at that most crucial period where they are so new and susceptible to, you know, everything around them. And I didn't know what to say to people. I was often just going, oh, sorry, I'm not sure, maybe go to your local dog trainer. And I thought, you know what, that's not good enough. I'm in a position where people are coming to me and often asking me for advice, and I've got that opportunity there to potentially make a difference and save an animal's life if I give them the right advice at that point. So I thought, I need to do something about it. And because I didn't feel I was confident enough, because I didn't have the training, I went and did the vet nurse, it's called the nurse's certificate in animal behavior. And I did that, and that was unbelievably eye-opening. I learned, well, pretty much everything that I know today from that course. And that's what made me then have the confidence to go back into my practice. And I started, you know, running behavior clinics, behavior consults, and with all puppies. I was then, whenever puppies were coming in for their first appointment, I was saying, right, this is what you need to do. Start off on the best foot, socialize them this way. This is how you do training, positive reinforcement. This is how you get the best way to toilet train. This is how you get them, you know, happy with other dogs, happy with people. And I was basically, any puppy coming through the door, I was like chucking everything I knew at them, in to go think that I'll go home at night and know that I've done my best, and I'll sleep at night knowing that these dogs have, you know, hopefully got the best chance in life because I've given them that information. And
that's wonderful.
That was just for me. And then it occurred to me that, okay, I'm doing it, but what about all the other nurses who don't know what to say? And I either had lots of friends who are nurses who said, oh, I don't know what to say to owners when they ask me behavior questions. I've no idea. And I had some people who told me things that they've said, or I've overheard other nurses saying things which now I know were really like incorrect advice. So I just thought, if I set up this Instagram page, I can maybe get other nurses to maybe see what they should be saying and try and help get this out there, so that other nurses can maybe get what's the word, be more educated. And when a puppy owner does ask them a question, they can think, yes, I remember something I read on that vet nurse page, I know what to say.
And it's interesting what you said there about perhaps some of your education, which I know has been immense, but that you feel that there wasn't a large enough proportional emphasis on animal behaviour and positive reinforcement training. And and I've had owners come to class, owners of adolescent dogs coming to my adolescent training classes, saying, you know, we went to the vet the other day and the vet's told me that my dog's got to wear a muzzle because they were trying to bite the vet on the table. And it just breaks my heart, because I think, well, if the vets, and again, this isn't about rubbishing vets, because I think everybody in the industry is, you know, they're all gods in my opinion. But, you know, had that vet perhaps have had more time with that animal on the table, and had that vet perhaps had more of an interest or more of
training in behaviour,
in animal behaviour and that positive reinforcement side of training, then perhaps could they have worked with the dog slightly slower and done, you know, some nice reward based handling and consensual handling on the vet table before they even started examining that dog. And it's the same as the NHS, you know. I'm sure that everybody's under pressure and you've got time slots that you've got to stick to, but what I've always been particularly interested in, and through my own experience with taking my dogs to the vets, I remember when Albert was a very young puppy, he had an ear infection, and they, you know, the vet that I went to, again, they were a fantastic vets, but it just opened up my eyes to how they are having to do things in certain situations. And he was whisked out into the back and they left the door open, and I could see one of the vet nurses actually straddling him and holding him down to the floor and trying to get the eardrops in his ear, and he was hating it, and of course has been hand shy ever since and hates anything around his face and his head. So ever since my experience with Albert, I've been particularly interested in trying to champion better handling and, you know, better animal behaviour understanding at the vets. And it's nice that you're coming from the same perspective there. So
I think it's, unfortunately, vets and vet nurses, it's vets as well, they just don't get there's not enough behaviour training in the curriculum for them. And there's so much to cover with veterinary, there is, and they get a bit of it, but unless I think someone's particularly interested in it, or they then do further qualifications, I just think that it can get missed. And, you know, and like you said, we are under time pressure. Sometimes owners, they want to come in, they want to get the treatment, and, you know, we've also got clients waiting. There might be the waiting room's full. Absolutely. You know, you are under pressure and you've got to sometimes just do things. And I think that is when sometimes those things happen, like what happened with your dog. You know, they just got to get the eardrops in or whatever, and they just try and do it as quick as they can and get them out again.
Absolutely.
If your dog is really nervous and the vet's trying something and it's not working and your dog is getting really upset, a good vet will stop and say, right, I don't want to proceed. And they'll say, can we bring him back maybe another day and try again? Or can we maybe book him in for sedation? And also to say as well, if you feel that your dog they're trying to do something to your dog that it's clearly getting really upset, that will cause a negative experience, and they could remember that, and therefore being able to say, can we stop, and then maybe doing it under sedation instead. Because
absolutely,
that's so much better. Because then what happened to you, really, they should have said, he's not going to let us do it, can we book him in for a sedation? They forget. And they can also give anxiolytics, which have amnesic effect. So they could have given your dog some diazepam beforehand, brought him in, given him sedation, put the stuff in his ear, reversed the sedation, sent him home, and then he wouldn't have even remembered it.
I'm going to start getting emotional, but how important. I wish I'd known that at the time. You know, I was a novice dog owner.
That's it. You're not the only one, and sadly I think this is happening. a lot of places, they just think, well, we've got to get the ear stuff in, let's just take him out of the bag.
Absolutely.
And that's completely the wrong way. That this is what the fear-free course taught me a lot, that if it starts to get too much, it's dangerous for that dog's emotional.
Yes.
And then you need to then bring them back in another day and try sedation. That way then you can get what you need done, and that dog doesn't have a horrendous experience that they will never ever forget.
Yeah. And so to try and make your lives a bit easier, what can owners be doing to help prepare their puppies and their pets for feeling more comfortable when they come to the vet? So vets and vet nurses aren't having to actually restrain them. What can owners be doing?
So my vets, we do this, and I'm sure that any vets that you go to will be happy to do this. So when you pick up your puppy, if you haven't got an appointment, maybe their vaccination isn't booked in for another couple of weeks, you don't have to wait. You can pop in like couple of days after you've got your puppy, go down to the vets, take them in, carry them, and just say, hi, I'm just getting my puppy used to coming to the vets. Is it okay if I just pop him in? I'm sure no receptionist or nurse in reception is going to decline you bringing your little puppy in.
Absolutely, yeah.
And they will literally just be so happy to see you, and they can give treats, they can give a little stroke, a cuddle, whatever you like, and then you can say thank you very much and you leave again.
Yeah.
You can do that as many times as you want in the weeks running up to your appointment. And if you do that, we find that those dogs who then come for their vaccination, they come bounding towards the door. They're so excited because I love this place. I've been here before and I get treats. And even if they have a bad experience, they have an injection and then they go home again. If you then bring them back maybe the next week and do the same again, just pop them in, say hello, reception, give them some treats. We can give them a cuddle. We can say hello. You could put them on the scales if you want and give them a little treat and take them out again. Do that again a couple of times after they've had their injection. They'll soon remember, oh, I came to the vets once and I had that injection, but I've come loads of other times and it's been great and I've had treats and it's been amazing. And you can just basically build up to them remembering the really positive experiences. You can tell the ones who the owners have popped up regularly because they are so excited to come in. And even if they're having their injection, they're like, yeah, I want to get in. They love it.
So important, isn't it? Because it's not just about the actual vet surgery, it's about the smell and the journey that they have on the way there and who they meet inside and the sounds, and it's such a good socialization exercise to be doing.
When you said about the journey, you can use the Adaptil spray in the car on a blanket. They can bring up a blanket or a toy as well that they like. Also, if you know that there's a particular treat that they love, if they're really into cheese or ham, we're probably not going to have that at the vets. You'll have we always have biscuits. Any vet should have biscuits on the side. But if you know that they're going to be really happy with cheese and ham, bring some cheese and ham with you, and make sure that you set yourself up for success before you leave. So spray maybe the car with some Adaptil spray. There's these really nice Adaptil puppy Adaptil Junior collars.
The collars are brilliant. Yeah,
you can put those on, and then get them in the car so that they've got the pheromones working, and then they make it on the blanket. If you've sprayed it on the blanket, you could bring the blanket in with you into the consult room. That's
a lovely idea. I like that idea, actually bringing your own bits and pieces in. That's great.
Absolutely fine. If people want to bring a blanket that they've pre-sprayed with Adaptil spray, that's absolutely fine. And wearing the little Adaptil collar, that's great. And the other thing is, if you get to the vets and your puppy is terrified and will not go in the door, you don't have to go in. You can go into reception and say, my puppy's really scared. Can someone come out to the car park? Can someone come to the car? That is absolutely fine as well. I think a lot of people always worry that they are going to be troubling their vets, or I've got to go to the vets and I've got to drag him in and I've got to get him in the room. And you don't. If they're having a really bad experience and you think it's actually going to be damaging to their emotional health, You don't have to force them in. Just say, I'm really sorry, my puppy's really nervous. Can someone come out to see
Yeah.
him in the car? And that's fine. Most vets will accommodate that as well.
Absolutely. I must admit, after Albert had that experience, anytime any vet says to me, we need to do this, would you mind leaving? I say, actually, I'd like to stay. And they've always been okay with that. So I think you're absolutely right. So if something doesn't feel right to you as an owner, I think it's really important just to be asking those questions. And most vets will accommodate you if they can, short of, being in theatre with them, obviously.
Yes, and popping up to reception and stuff.
Yeah.
It's usually no trouble at all. Like, unless there's some sort of emergency going on and everybody's run out to the back, I cannot see any vets declining someone to just pop in, even if the receptionist is on the phone. You don't need to even speak to them. Just coming into reception, giving them a treat and going again. You're not causing any problem by anyone. And if you're worried, you can always ring your vets and ask before and say, is it okay if I pop up and do this every couple of days or once a week? And I am sure that they will all say it's absolutely fine.
Yeah, really, really good advice. And just to go back to your idea about bringing a blanket in with the adapter, I know that my vets have all of the plugins in the walls, which is always good. Would it be okay to perhaps bring a puppy settle blanket in and pop that on the vet table? Or would that not be something that you think most vets would be happy with because of it kind of sliding around? Because we do a lot of work on settle blankets, which I'm thinking might be quite useful.
Yeah, so I cannot see why a vet or would say, I don't want you bringing that in. I mean, unless you put it on the table and they're slipping and sliding and the vet can't hold them, or and the examination is becoming difficult. I honestly, I can't see that being a problem. If someone brought one into me and they wanted to put it on the table, I would say that's absolutely fine. We do it for cats, because we use a lot of towels for cats, because they don't like consult table, so we put towels on the table. So that's standard for a cat, so I can't see what would be a problem for a dog.
Really,
And also, just to mention as well, they don't have to go on the table.
That's going to be my next question. It's one of what our followers asked us. Yeah.
So they don't have to go on the table. So some dogs are terrified. Also, large breed puppies, you don't want to be putting them on tables. The vet can do anything on the floor. We can all kneel down. We can go down and and see them on the floor if they're scared. We can do it on your lap. If you want to sit on a chair in the corner with them on your lap, we can do it there. We can accommodate you and your pet, and that's what's really important. I think I see a lot of people who come in and they try to like pick up this German Shepherd puppy and put it on the table, and I'm like, no, don't worry, you can just leave him. He can stay on the
floor. Don't touch him.
Yeah, you're more likely to cause them to have a negative experience.
Absolutely.
Sticking them up on this table, and when they're not happy, they're much better. We don't have to have them on the table. It's not some sort of like rule of the veterinary practice that all animals must be on the table. It's fine.
And with everything that's happening at the moment, obviously we're coming out of it now, please God, fingers crossed, but with everything that's been happening with COVID, have you seen a difference in the way that young puppies and adolescent dogs are behaving and how they're presenting when they're at the vets? Obviously, I know for a lot of my owners it's been particularly stressful and a cause of huge anxiety for a lot of people not being able to come into the vets with their dogs.
That is, yeah, obviously a lot of the things that I've said have been based on the norm. Some vet practices I know aren't letting people in, so yes, that is a lot harder. However, I think in these instances, if you've got a puppy who is really nervous, again, the vet can see you in the car park. I know a lot of vets are seeing clients in the car park and in the car.
Yeah, we've been seen in the car park.
Yeah. And if that means that your puppy's happier and isn't being taken away from you, then that's absolutely fine. Unless the animal needs to be taken in to go on a drip or have some sort of investigations, or it's really poorly and needs to go in, you should be able to have the examination, vaccination, anything like that in the car, or in the car park.
Yeah, Rita had colitis in the summer and they came out and gave her an injection and we did everything outside. It was great. I was really impressed.
Yes, we can accommodate.
And so, yes, a lot of the time in class, people will come and they'll say that their puppies had their first vaccination and that they've been told outrightly by the vets that their puppies cannot go out and that they must keep them indoors. Obviously, that's not what vets are saying, but I think that's the message that is coming across a lot of the time. So what can be done there to help owners who haven't yet had a conversation with a puppy trainer to understand the importance of actually being out with their puppies, whether it's in their arms or in a puppy bag, and exposing them to the environment and making sure that they have those sensory experiences?
I think it's important to mention, like, as you've made it, as you've explained, vets do say that, because when they've had an injection, they'll say, okay, he can't go out until he's had his next one. The thing is, it becomes a bit of an autopilot.
Yeah.
When you do it to so many puppies that day, you just go, okay, so next one is in 2 weeks' time. No walks until then. Okay, thanks then, bye-bye.
Yeah.
But really, if you were to explain actually what it really entails, it takes a long time, and a lot of vets, we don't have that time. So
is there maybe a handout that you could give to people, or even just one sentence that sort of,
yes,
you can't put them on the floor but you must still take them out, here's a leaflet explaining why?
This is what I say when I have my consults, but that's because I've done a lot of behavior stuff and I'm really passionate about it. So when
flying the flag.
Whenever I have a puppy in for a second vaccination, I always say, you can't take him out for walks just yet on the pavement. You can't put him down, but you can take him out. And I really encourage you to take him with you in a bag, carry him however you can, and get him used to everything. As long as you don't put him on the floor, it's absolutely fine. And that's enough normally.
That's all that they need to hear. Yeah.
And people go, oh, I didn't realize that. I think people are so terrified of them putting them on the floor that they think that because and the vet has said don't take him out for a walk yet. People just think that means, oh, I have to keep him in my house.
Yeah.
And I also another thing I say to owners as well is, if you know people who have got dogs and they're vaccinated and they're up to date with their boosters, he can still meet them. There is nothing stopping you taking your puppy round to your friend's house who's got a dog. As long as they've had all their jabs and they're up to date with boosters, they can play. It's only unvaccinated dogs that are a concern, which is why when you go for a walk, you don't know what the other dogs around if they've had their jab. And that's why we don't say put them down. But as long as you know the vaccination status of a dog, you can.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's why puppies can come to classes with us at puppy school after just having had their first vaccination. And so last question, Francesca, thank you so much, from some of our followers, was how is it best to choose a vet that is going to be behaviourally conscious?
So this is something that is quite interesting. Now for cats, we have something called the Cat Friendly Clinic accreditation. So people can go on the website and look and find vets that have been accredited. Now there isn't one for dogs. However, there is an accreditation.
Why not?
I know, but I think it's because this consensus is that all vets are friendly for dogs, but for cats, they find it more stressful because it's a bit different being taken out of their home. So anyway, that's a debate. However,
a whole new interview.
However, there is something that's really amazing that's come out recently. It's actually started in America. It's called Fear-Free Certified. So it's a program that vets can do, either individually, vets, nurses, or the whole practice can do this program. And they will become a fear-free certified practice or professional. And I've done it myself and it's incredible. And it basically goes through and tells you and shows you how to make your practice as fear-free for your patients as possible, from coming for appointments to being hospitalized, everything. And if you can find a vet who's got that certification, they should have the logo on their website, or if they've got a person in the practice who's done it, and it's on their website, that would make a huge difference, because you know then that vet has got someone, or the practice has done that certificate.
Someone like you.
And the other option is, when you go on the website, I would always say have a read through the vets and the vet nurses biographies. They usually are on there, and have a read if anyone has got in there their interest in behaviour, because that's usually quite good. Or a vet who's got a certificate in behaviour, or a nurse with a certificate in behaviour. That's always a good one as well, because then you know someone in the practice is really conscious of that. And if there's a particular vet who's got a certificate, you can ask to see that vet. If you want to, you can say, I want to see the vet with the certificate in behaviour, please. You know then that vet has got someone in the practice who is behaviour conscious, and they are, you know, they know how to make the process of going to the vets as nice as possible for your pet.
Absolutely brilliant. And is there a main kind of a database that people can use to search for that, where perhaps they can put in their search criteria that it's
you can go on the Fear Free website. Obviously it is
in the comments.
Yeah, it is an American website. However, it will state on there it's got a list of all the accredited professionals and practices that are accredited. So I think if you put in your area where you live, or the country, it will show you the fear-free certified people and practices around you. Or go on the website and see if the logo is showing on their page.
Fantastic.
And the only other thing you can do is, when you speak to reception, you know, just ask them, say, what's your protocol for nervous dogs? What's your protocol for handling dogs? If they say, if they're asking you questions like, we always check whether if your dog's happy to be handled, whether they want to be in the car park, or whether they are, what their favorite treat is, and things like that. If they're asking those questions, they are a behavior conscious practice. They've got that they're the sort of practice you want to go to, because they're considering those things before you've even come to the practice.
Yeah, fantastic. Frankie, thank you so much. I could talk to you all evening. It's been absolutely fascinating. And just so we can direct people to your really helpful Instagram page as well, it's Vet Nurse Behaviour Hub, and I will include that in the comments below as well. Thank you so much for championing everything that we believe in here at Lady and the Hound as well. And have a lovely evening, and I look forward to keeping in touch. Bye.
Thank you very much. Bye.